Would you say that Brady is the one to blame for the Bucs' loss?
Of course. Of course he is. Look, Nick Foles was bad to begin that game. Really bad. But when they needed him to be great, or at least to make the play, he did. That was a beautiful pass to put him squarely in field goal range at the end of the game. And he went from awful to a little less awful to, okay, he's all right, to maybe he's an average type quarterback, but with the game on the line, he made the play. Now, Nagy mismanaged the clock, gave Tom Brady over a minute to win the game. We all knew he was going to win the game, right? Not only did he fail to make the plays, they weren't easy plays, but okay, the game's on the line. Who's going to be the most special? Not only did he fail to complete on 3rd and 4th down, he clearly didn't know what down it was. Arians is clearly covering for him. I have not heard Brady answer directly that question, yes, I did or didn't. Nobody, obviously, coach is covering for him. What else does 4 mean? He didn't know what down it was, but he also did not complete on 3rd down or 4th down, and I know especially 4th down was not an easy throw. Who said this was going to be easy? Now, look, he was chewing out his offensive line earlier in the game, and they deserved it. But Tom Brady, if you're chewing out the offensive line for failing to execute or for making mental errors, that's a bad look at the end of the game when you make that kind of mental error. And furthermore, that never happened with Belichick, right? Like, Belichick, the offensive line is not constantly killing drives with penalties, right? That just didn't happen. But who was the beneficiary of being on a team like that all those years? Tom Brady. Quarterbacks get disproportional blame and credit. He ain't with Belichick anymore. This is how the other half lives, or rather, the other 31 quarterbacks in the league live. The coach is not as prepared as Belichick. The team is not as well coached, not as disciplined. Calls go against you a lot of the time. And now you have to make the play. The other quarterback did. He failed to do it. And he also, it was an error in execution, and there was a mental lapse. Both. Yes, you can pin this on Tom Brady.
Well, thank you for living up to your reputation. Max is taking multiple sides because, once again, the show opens up, and I wanted to get on Bruce Arians, but you made sure to point out Arians made an error. Well, thank you very, very much, Max Kellerman. So let me take it from you and say this. I am not absolving Tom Brady completely. What I am saying is your point about how, life without Belichick, welcome to the real world that everybody else has to deal with, allows me to put the onus on Bruce Arians. Because here's the thing, again, not absolving Tom Brady. He messed up, no question about it. I got that. I was watching Ryan on Get Up earlier this morning. Ryan, I don't disagree with what you said, and you'll remind the audience of exactly what that was. But what I'm saying is 11 penalties for 109 yards. Of course, Tom Brady was chewing them out. And in terms of forgetting, oh, my goodness, 4th down, thinking we had one more. Excuse me, that is something that would never happen with Bill Belichick. So when are we going to look at Bruce Arians? You got to also remember, Chris Godwin isn't there. That's your playmaker that has the ability to separate. Because I got news for you. That 3rd down play, Gronk wasn't open, not by a shot. Mike Evans wasn't open. He pushed off, and that was another penalty. We look at guys and the throws that Tom Brady was making. Excuse me, you've got to try and make a play, and literally nobody was open. You had the Chicago Bears draped all over them. And then if you're Tom Brady, of course you don't like to get hit. You don't like to get pressured. Khalil Mack had a couple of sacks. He got sacked 3 times on the night. The Chicago Bears defense, their front 4 was in his face all night long. We got all of that. So you can point to what he's missing or the fact that he might have been a bit rattled, and I totally get that. But what I'm saying is, at some point in time, regardless of 43 years of age, regardless of 9 Super Bowl appearances, regardless of 6 Super Bowl championships, you're still coming to an entirely new system. You got a new offensive coordinator in Byron Leftwich. You got a new head coach in Bruce Arians. Help the brother out. You got guys making penalties all over the place, seeming ill-prepared. You've got Tom Brady being pressured all night long. You got guys that can't get open, all right? I can't blame anybody else for Tom Brady literally forgetting, but in the same breath, it's like, can I lean on my head coach? You're there for a reason. This is your job to make sure that everybody's on top of it. We watched the Atlanta Falcons. blow a game weeks ago against the Dallas Cowboys. Who did we point to? We pointed to the coaching. Why? Because we had 5 or 6 guys standing around the ball acting like they had punted instead of receiving an onside kick. We're looking at them and saying, what the hell is wrong with you? So we looked at Quinn, and we looked at their special teams coach. We're looking at the Dallas Cowboys now and how porous their defense is. And everybody's been talking about effort or lack thereof or what have you. Who did we bring up? Mike Nolan. Max, you brought up the GM, who's the owner, and Jerry Jones. How come we can't look at dudes that play a higher role, that's not on the field, that have a responsibility to make sure that everybody's on their P's and Q's? If we could do it with these other organizations, why do we all of a sudden throw that aside because Tom Brady is your quarterback when this is only his 4th game without a preseason, by the way? Why we can't do that? Again, I'm not trying to absolve him, but I'm saying he ain't the only one here. We can't ignore that.
But you are, Stephen A. You are trying to absolve him because this is about Tom Brady. And all of those things happen. We see so many games where teams make mistakes and this happens and, there are penalties and, there are turnovers. And then at the end of the game, a quarterback gets into the huddle. He wills his team to win. And we give that guy all the credit. We talk about all these things that happen, but we say, you know what? When a play needed to be made, whether it was Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, they came out and they made a play. They had that one drive or those 4 throws or those 4 plays that helped the team who didn't play well all night win the game. Well, Tom Brady was in that spot. And let's remember all the things that were said about Tom Brady when he goes over to Tampa Bay. He's a coach on the field. Coach on the field. Not just a player, a coach on the field. His experience gives us confidence. He has changed the way that we work, changed the way that we practice. Tom Brady wasn't brought in there just to throw dimes. He wasn't brought in there just to push the ball.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.